Okay, good morning. So this presentation will probably be stretching for sessions with us. So I will not finish everything. So the presentation is just one, but I will go at it for four sessions. So there are many market structures here in this presentation. But since our subject is about uh, pricing, in the context of entrepreneurship. So we will situate the market structures in the context of pricing. Since you are entrepreneurship students, so we included the fact that this is actually part of business decisions. Diba? Parang if you have a business and you want to start uh, with considering like how much or how high or how low will your pricing be, then you have to understand the kind of market structure you are in. So yun yung sabi natin even before I fully be. And then we kind of tackle the perfect competition first, right? Then we injected something because what's happening in the US, right? Now is April 2025. And there is a 90-day reprieve in the tariff being charged now to almost 200 nations. So we explained that as a sort of an interlude, and that's the reason why kailangan siyang balikan. No? So this is again in the context of pricing. So there is a decision. There's a decision. There are decisions we need to include, in considering the kind of pricing that we must undertake. That's why, without further ado, this is pricing in different markets. Okay? Yeah. So, nabanggit na natin to sa perfect competition, but we would like to get back to it again. So that's why I said na we will spend four sessions with it. Kasi nga, because of the four main market structure. Dun sa presentation that I think the link I gave to you, although as I mentioned, that is for master's program, and I don't want you to be overwhelmed with so much information. Doon five yung market structure na inano natin, discuss. No? Okay lang. We don't watch that anymore. Anyway, so this is what we spoke about na rin. So, last time. We started with perfect competition. So ito yan. This is the introduction. So the environment in which your product or service is sold, it has a great effect on the available options for the buyer and seller. So of course, since entrepreneurship tayo, we would like to focus on us, the seller. So we will now go through the different markets, and then based on their characteristics, we will consider the kind of pricing and the decisions that we must undertake, in those different markets. So we have here the four market groups or market structures. We have the perfect competition. Napag-usapan na natin to, but we will have to recall. Then, I think we more or less tackle monopoly, and then monopolistic competition will be the next, and then oligopoly. So we'll have examples there, and you will see now, okay, so it's not really strictly speaking following the main, um, sabihin natin subdivisions, no, of market structures, but we have to understand first bakit siya magiging perfect competition, bakit siya magiging saan galing yun, where is it coming from, and then monopolistic competition, what does that mean, and then what makes oligopoly. So we will tackle all those four. As I said, we will just do it. Okay, so ito, napag-usapan natin to in the beginning, uh, I think about 2 weeks ago, even before the midterm, right? So yung perfect competition is a situation that is prevailing in the market in which the buyers and sellers are so numerous, and yun ang number one large numbers of buyers and sellers, and they're well informed that all elements of monopoly are absent. Walang isang seller lang, no? So, walang nagmamanipulate ng market, walang merong monopoly, and the market price of the commodity is beyond the control of individual buyers or sellers. So, there's so many buyers and sellers, and as we said, price takers sila, di ba? The sellers are price takers. So, hindi nila kayang kontrolin yung price dahil walang monopoly. So, hindi ito katulad ng monopoly ng De Beers sa diamonds. Diba? Sabi nga natin, we are seeing that most of the products that are classified under perfect competition, usually mga nasa agriculture, commodities that are not sold in terms of branding. Kasi pag branding, meron na yan, may advertisement na, saka hindi na siya yung information niya hindi rin perfect for all, diba? Ano tayo, nagkakaroon ng differentiation, that. So, the example that we had before was, naalala ko pa yung calamansi. Kasi ba? Calamansi o kamatis? Calamansi. No? So, ganun yung idea natin. So, ito ulit yun, no? The features of the perfect competition would be yun nga, large number of buyers and sellers. And then there are the products is almost identical or talagang identical na siya, homogeneous, put it. And then there's free entry or exit of firms. Walang masyadong barrier to entry. Diba? The example nga that we did was may nagbebenta ng kalamansi dyan, at the end of the day, or minsan middle of the day, gusto niyang tumigil, magbenta, it's free. They're free to leave. And then, may darating na naman. So, sobrang dami kasi na nagbebenta. So that, hindi natin pwedeng controlin yung pricing because nangyayari is, pag dinisrupt mo yung pricing, yes, makakuha ka ng maraming buyers for some time, pero pag naubos na yung supply mo, balik ulit siya sa dati. No? Kasi hindi mo kayang kontrolin. Hindi mo kayang i-corner yung market, so to speak. So that's why some people are also attributing perfect competition for stock market. Pero some people are a little bit, hindi sila masyado. Kasi sa stock market, parang ganun din. No? Hindi mo talaga maka-corner yung market and forever because unless bibili mo talaga lahat nag-share sa company. Pero like something like Intel Corporation, Microsoft, you can buy everything, diba? Almost $1 trillion na yan, if not $1 trillion na nga. So you don't have that amount of money. So kahit pa $100,000 ang bilhin mo, it may put at the end for some time, diba? Bibili ka dyan at halimbawa, no, the prevailing rate was kumari lang, no, $35 or something. Pinili mo siya ng 37. Okay? So, tumangat siya ng $2, right? But it's only with your transaction. Since you cannot control the pricing, diba? Eventually, it will go back to the usual. 35 yung going rate. Balik ka. So, parang lumabas lang na bumili ka ng 2 pesos premium. Pero sa dulo, naluwi ka na naman ng $2 premium because babalik ulit siya sa dati, right? Ganon ang nangyayari sa kanya. So, wala kang power na i-corner siya. Unless nga, sobrang laki nung mga institutional investors, ganun ang nangyayari. They are buying, for example, hundreds of thousands of shares, lalo sa Philippines. Liit lang naman ng natin, no? Ng share prices going on, no? Yung buying and selling, 5 billion pesos, I would say, 6 billion pesos a day. Unlike, like na Thailand, talo na tayo. Unlike New York Stock Exchange or Japan or FTSE 100 sa Britain or at least Shanghai, no? Stock Exchange. Hindi tayo ganun eh. So that's why parang kayang-kaya pa tayo paglaruan. Isang hindi rin magandang example dito is forex market, no? Kasi there are trillions of dollars at any one time going on around the world. So hindi mo pwedeng, you know, kumbaga talagang price takers tayo. Kung ano yung nakikita mo doon, yun. Di ba? Kung ano yung price na nandun. So it's just, excuse me, it's just your decision to buy at that point or not. Okay? So kaya meron ng entry and exit. And then, merong perfect knowledge. Actually, yan, that's something that you need to explain pa. No? So, meron siyang buyers and sellers, meron perfect knowledge of the prices and technology. Kasi ang point lang naman doon is walang differentiation. That's the point there. No? So, parang you know the product or the service through and through. Parang wala namang pagpapalitan. Halimbawa, isang tumpok ng kamatis or kalamansi, right? Kung yan ang pinagbabasehan natin is like 200 grams or 500 grams, pare-pareho yan. Alam mo yung lasa niyan, siguro meron konti dito ng medyo matapis ng konti, but it will still be the same. So you know, you have a more or less perfect knowledge about what it is. There's also perfect mobility of the factors of production. Diba? Tapos, wala rin siyang assumption of no transport cost. Kasi pag nagkaroon na ng ganun, tulad sa atin, no? Pag-transport, for example, ng bigas, ng mga agricultural products from north to the NCR, or even South Luzon, doon merong pumapasok na, ano na siya, no? Na encumbrance sa pricing. Pero technically speaking, if you are just, going to fix all the distribution, the channel is good. Kung mawawala yun, all factors held constant, that is a perfect competition. No? So, ganyan yung idea ng perfect competition. So, I hope may mali natin maintindihan. Okay, so ito yung pure competition. Ano yung comparison of pure competition and perfect competition? Yung pure competition exists when the first three conditions, existence ng large number of buyers and sellers, identical products, homogeneous, di ba? And then free entry or exit are fulfilled. Yan, ibig sabihin ng pure competition. No? Ang perfect competition naman is much broader yung definition niya kasi there are additional conditions that are stated there. No? Kaya nga natin sinasabi parang the perfect competition is actually a market structure. No? Siguro, ang pure competition is a temporary market condition, right? But ang perfect competition is actually the structure of the market. Okay? So let's now go to the concept of the equilibrium price. So pag sinabi equilibrium sa economics, this is the point of balance, no? Yung balance ng supply and demand. Alam na natin to sana, no? Sa economics, naturo na sa atin to, no? So this is where the supply and the demand meets. So makikita natin dito sa table, no? So usually ang demand curve, doon naman tayo sa left side. No? Yung demand curve will always go down because ang ibig sabihin lang nun dito, yung Y kasi dito is the price and the X is the quantity, yung X-axis. So ang ibig sabihin lang yan, the higher the price, the lower left kasi the quantity, and then the lower the price, so bababa ka sa Y-axis, tumataas ka naman sa X-axis, di ba? So the lower the price, the higher the demand. And then sa supply naman baliktad. No? So there's a sweet spot in the middle which is PEQ. That is what we call the equilibrium point. No? So yan ang equilibrium ng competitive industry. So ito isang example lang dito sa may right side. If the price is 1, then the supply is 10, the demand is 50. No? And then nung naging 2 pesos, for example, naging 20 yung supply, and then the demand is 40, and so on, no? So, pinapakita lang dito na merong sweet spot siya na 3 ang price, 30 yung willing mag-supply, and then 30 yung willing bumili. And that is a sweet spot. That's the equilibrium point. It's an ideal point. No? Pag tinanong mo ang mga economists, saan yan, for example, what is the equilibrium point for bigas or sugar, hindi nila masasabi, no? Because ang masasabi lang nila is it's always shifting minute by minute, hour by hour. Basta ang mahalaga, makikita natin yan na kung ano yung going rate sa market, it is safe to say that that is the equilibrium point. No? Hindi ka talaga makakaalam, hindi mo siya makakalculate. Although mathematicians all over, I mean, through the years, have proposed many calculations on this based on, again, historical, historical facts, historical data. Alam niyo naman din sa Philippines, wala tayong mapaasahan na historical data rito. Hindi katulad sa ibang bansa. Like, for example, in the US, it's always around. Hindi kasi natin maasahan yung report ng ng ano ng NEDA, ng census.gov.ph, no? Kasi ang PSA, unang-una, late na siya, sabi nga nung aming presidente dati. Uh, sa business, pag ang report mo, ang tawag yung mga lag measures ano na siya, history na hindi mo siya magagamit sa decision making because it just talks about what already happened. Tell me what's about to happen. So for example, if we're saying that the equilibrium point is 3 pesos, are you saying that we will sell at 3 pesos? Or do we sell at 4, no? Maintain. Alam ba, siyempre dito, this is a perfect competition. So, alam na natin na ganun yung going rate. Doon tayo susunod, right? Pero may mga ibang tao na magde-decide dyan on the or kung ikaw ang supplier, do we supply now? Or do we wait for the prices to go up bago tayo mag-supply? Or do we maintain yung steady flow or pipigilan ba natin yung pag-flow ng supply para tumaas yung presyo? So all of those things ay hindi mo makikita dito And that is the reason why mahirap siyang pag-aralan talaga. Lalo na't wala tayong data. That's what I'm saying. So dito, sabi nga rin sa Uban, it is clear from the table that the quantity demanded and supplied nagkakaroon ng equilibrium point, at least in this example, at 3 pesos. So all other levels of the prices, yung quantity demanded and supplied are not equal. So, halimbawa, if the price is 1, napakalaki ng demand pero kakaunting supply, right? So marami ang demand. Okay, ito kasi piso lang. 10 lang ang demand. So ano mangyayari? Magko-compete sila doon sa ilang supply, wala na naman. Kung wala kang pambili, hirit yan. Pero, di ba, usually, ang nangyayari dyan is, sige, babayaran ko na siyang 1 peso 50. Bigyan mo lang ako ng price. Bili kasi gusto namin yan. Sabi niya, hindi. Ako na bibili dahil because ang bili ko dos or 250 or 3. Ayan, 3. So, ibig sabihin, you are actually kahit na hindi natin siya sinasadya, babalik at babalik tayo dun sa equilibrium point. Kasi yun yung point whereby hindi na masyadong naapektuhan yung demand, hindi siya bumababa. No? Sa presyo sa supply naman, sakto din lang. No? Kasi lahat ng sinusupply mo, nabibili din. At kasi pag may sobra, di may tendency ang presyo bumaba. Pag kulang naman, may tendency ang presyo tumaas, right? So yun ang equilibrium. Now, in the perfect competition, alam naman natin, di ba, na talagang may maintain tayo dyan na price, kasi price takers lang tayo dito. The price determination in the market period differs whether it's perishable goods, totoo naman to, pag perishable yung goods, o kaya naman pag non-perishable. Yung price determination din, tinitingnan din natin, nagbabago din yan kung ang pinag-usapan natin ay yung short period of time o kaya long period of time. So we go now next to the equilibrium of a firm under perfect competition. Kasi mamaya merong imperfect competition. So makikita natin dito, again, tingnan natin siya from the perspective na naman ng yung Y is the price, andyan dyan yung revenue, no? And then yung X will be the output or the supply, no? So makikita niyo yung dark na parang curvilinear, parang parabola opening upward, that is the marginal cost. And the marginal cost, it is the change of cost as you go from like quantity 0 to quantity 1, quantity 1 to quantity 2, and so on. No? Tapos, makikita niyo yung revenue, since yung revenue niya ay iisa lang, pansin ninyo, ano siya horizontal, di ba? Napag-usapan na natin to. Kaya siya horizontal kasi hindi nagbabago yung price. At any point, hindi siya nagbabago. In fact, dito, ang price ay nakaset siya sa 4 pesos. Ayun, nakalagay price 4. So, sa column 1, ang price ay 4. Tapos, nakalagay dito, let's say, ang quantity sold ay 10, o kaya 12, o kaya 14, o kaya 16. The revenue will be, multiply mo lang yung 1 and 2, 4 times 10, 40, 4 times 12, 48, 4 times 14, 56, 4 times 16 is 64. Tapos, yung average revenue will be number 3, column number 3, divided by number 2. Diba? So, syempre, natural, laging 4 yun. Bumalik ka lang doon sa price, right? And then the marginal revenue is also continuously the same kasi marginal revenue is the change of revenue as you proceed from quantity to quantity. So, yung 10 naging 12, di ba? So, may difference sa dalawa, right? Pero look at the revenue, 48, 40 naging 48. So, ang change of revenue is 8. Kaya yung marginal revenue niya ay 8. So, yung 12 naging 14. Anong tinaas? Dalawa na naman. Anong tinaas sa revenue? 48 naging 56. 8 na naman. Diba? And so on. So, mapapansin nyo, yung marginal revenue niya, the same all throughout. Ang average revenue niya, the same all throughout. Kasi nga, hindi siya nagbabago ng price. Okay? Kaya dito, mapapansin mo, meron siyang point kung saan lang siya nagiging profitable. Okay? Sabi nga dito is in the long run, you will see that ano to it's a losing proposition. Lalo na kung talagang yun, nakita mo naman, no? Yung marginal cost, there will come a point in time na ma-outweigh niya yung revenue. No? At masyado na siyang mataas. Makapansin, yung marginal cost goes down, there will come a point in time na bumababa na siya, pero as you proceed further, merong ano yan, no? In the long run, maataas na yung kanyang presyo. So, the longer it stays, tumataas na yung price. So in an imperfect competition, yung market conditions ay nangyayari, no? Yung individual firms can exercise control over the price in varying degrees depending on the degrees of the imperfect competition prevailing in the market. So nangyayari minsan yung imperfect competition, usually pag inaalaw ng government to inaalaw ng government na magkaroon ng perfect competition kasi nga, yun nga, nangyayari ay kulang tayo sa supply, ay hindi na po pwedeng hindi tayo magkulang. So, ina-allow siya ng market na magbigay ka ng konting mataas na presyo. Diba? Nangyayari sa atin to. So, pag ganun, hindi na siya talaga perfect competition. No? Nagkakaroon kasi ng yung individual firms ay nagkakaroon ng exercising of control, especially on the pricing, in varying degrees, lalo na kung malaki ka na, na kapitalista, usually napapaboran ka dyan. Kasi in the first place, like if you're SM, kukuha ka ng ano naman ang difference ng isang grocery na maliit na mini mart, no? Kukuha lang ng 10 sako. Eh, ang SM, kunwari, kukuha ng 500 sako yung isang branch ng SM, right? Yung totality ng SM, pwedeng kumuha ng libo-libong sacks of rice, right? So, meron siyang economies of scale Kaya kung papansinin mo, kahit pasanapin natin ng agricultural products ay perfect competition hindi nangyayari. Ayun, no? So, meron kasi talaga imperfect competition. Okay, so dyan muna tayo ngayon. And then, we will continue next time. This, ang sunod naman natin would be, monopoly.